this meeting to order.
By next.
So we still got,
That's it.
I guess that's it, we're all here. Sounds good. All right.
Hi, Lori.
All right, if we could have Ms. Willis do the Pledge of Allegiance for us.
Raise the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag
Of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
City Clerk, roll call, please.
Commissioner Hutchinson.
Here.
Commissioner Willis.
Here.
Commissioner Williams.
Here.
Mayor Commissioner.
Here. City Attorney, would you mind reading us the budget hearing?
Yes, sir. Item 1, approve the proposed millage rate of 6.1644 mils for fiscal year 2024. The tentative millage rate of 6.1644 mils is 16% higher than the rollback rate of 5.3133 mils. Adoption of the millage rate by resolution number 2023-11 is scheduled for September 21, 2023. Representatives, Patricia Drakout, Chief Financial Officer, Robin Hayes, City Manager. Recommendation approved.
Move to approve the proposed millage rate of 6.1644 mils for fiscal year 2024, which is 16% higher than the rollback rate of 5.3113 mils.
I have a motion to approve. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
You got a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
We should do
Oh.
a roll call vote.
Oh, roll call.
And public comment.
Let's do a roll call vote, please.
And we also need public comment.
Oh, public comment. Sorry. Public comment, anybody on the proposed millage rate?
Mayor's got a card right there. Thank you.
Oh, this one's for this one. Okay, Joe, public comment from Joe.
My name is Joe DeMarco. I live in Cocoa Beach since 1999. Just a couple comments. I think the millage can be reduced. I think it's fair to do that to help our small businesses and our people that are trying to provide rental units at a decent price. We're pricing families right out of the city with our taxes. And if you really look at where the money goes, there's a lot of areas where our money can be better spent. And I mean, I would ask that you request an informal audit of that parking garage because it was proposed to us as a big money maker. It doesn't even come close to paying for itself. And that's just one example of projects that are again and again given to us, and then they just don't pay out. And we need accountability. We need stuff that starts making good financial sense, and that's what I'm asking for. Thank you.
Thank you, Joe. Is there anybody else in the commission that would like to discuss this before we vote?
Yeah, I just want to say a couple of comments. I think, we got the final budget on Friday, scrambled, put this list together of things to at least consider. So I hope you guys will read that. We got some responses from the city. So I just want to make sure we're tying everything to a strategic initiative, right? There's a lot of go-dos, a lot of nice things to have, but to me, everything should roll up to a requirement. Everything. The city has a requirement of, we painfully sat through the strategic sessions for 3 nights. I want to make sure everything rolls to that. I'd like to go through this. I don't know now's the forum, but I mean, there's a list of 30 questions and talking points. I need to digest this. So strategically, I think, I want to make sure we're not cutting capital because, when I mentioned rollback rate, we said we've done that for years and we didn't ever fund capital, but I see some things in here that are not capital related.
So, City Manager, is this something that is more suited for the budget meeting than the millage rate, or?
Again, it can be discussed at either.
we did answer the commissioner's questions and sent that to all of you, and you can also discuss it on the 21st if that's the more appropriate time to digest it. As the commissioner stated, you can still discuss it at that point in time.
Looks like we have another public comment. Is that correct, Ben?
We call him former mayor.
Former Mayor Ben.
You were right the first time. Hi, miss me? Just a couple things.
Can you please state your name and address for the record?
1029 South Brevard. Taxable value 158,000, market value 701. You notice the delta? That's the problem. That's it, plain and simple. I'm not here to, poo-poo homestead exemption or any of that or save our homes, but that's the mathematic reality you're dealing with. You have mismatched sources and uses. Your largest component of revenue is property tax revenues. You're capped by 3% homestead. So your expenses on the flip side have no cap. We're all paying higher prices for gas, inflation, everything else, wages, everything. The parking garage, with all due respect, absolute success. If you look at the CRA, the creation of that CRA, it was supposed to increase our values by about $100 million at the end of the CRA. It's already surpassed it, $160 million. It was the genesis that allowed conversion of $6, $7 square foot tenants on A1A, where you had plumbing stores and HVAC contractors. Nothing against those businesses, but I don't know any other town in Florida on the beach that you have plumbing stores on Ocean Drive. That is not the highest and best use of that property. What is restaurants and retail, and you're seeing that now. And I sent you evidence. There's market data that shows the rents downtown now are $25 a square foot. Those incremental increases of non-homestead properties, $160 million. So yeah, the parking garage, absolute out of the park success. Thank you.
Thank you, Ben. Mayor Ben. I'd like to say, we have the millage rate set. I have no intentions of lowering it from what it was. I have no intentions of raising it from what it was. I think it's fair to us to keep it the same. As far as the voting on this really isn't going to change that, in my opinion. We still have a lot of expenses and a lot of stuff to take care of. We still need to look into that, but the millage rate I don't think should really. We need that income right now for the stuff that we're taking care of. Go ahead.
City Manager, can I ask Ms. Breakart a question?
Sure. Yes, sir. Finance Director, please.
Good evening, Mayor, Commissioners. Patricia Draycott, City of Cocoa Beach, CFO.
So, Patricia, you've been here like as long as me. We won't say since dirt, as long as me, but a long time. And there's people in this room that know that in the economic downturn of 07, 08, 09, we lowered our millage rates, and we put ourselves into a little bind with the time value of money. And over the years that I've been a commissioner, I asked for the bathtub curve that showed how, we're trying to get back to where even the time value of what we were spending in 2007 equals the time value of money now, okay? And I know I didn't ask you to prepare that chart, but I believe that this millage rate increase is actually bringing us back to an average of the time value of money of what we were spending in dollars in 2007 to where we are in 2023. Do you kind of feel the same way?
Possibly a little less. I think our budget for buying power is a little less today than it was in prior years. It's because we are in an economy right now where a lot of products and services are still very high. And so we've actually cut from the original department request, we've cut out a lot to Commissioner Hutcherson's question. One of his questions was on the vehicles. It's just under 500,000 in this proposed budget, but it started out at closer to 2 million. So all of those vehicles that our fleet manager has recommended be replaced, they're getting older. You know, he looks at what is the best value if we resell it today versus how long are we using it comparative to the cost of maintenance as it starts to break down. So he's looking at all of those, and he makes his recommendations based on getting the optimal return with a minimal cost of repairs. And we've cut most of those replacements, moved them out, just to bring the budget to where the revenues and the expenditures balance.
So the next item on the agenda is to approve the tentative budget.
Correct.
And tentative means that it can be adjusted based on, I sounded like the votes are going to be for this current millage rate. So all of Commissioner Hutcherson's notes and the other things you've heard from the commission could be considered going into the final budget.
And even if you set the tentative today at the current millage rate of 6.1466, doesn't mean that you'd necessarily have to change that, but you can still shift. So if you think that maybe it's over budgeted here, but under budgeted here, you can shift things around up until the adoption.
My point is, we're going to approve a tentative budget.
Yes.
Which doesn't mean that this is the final.
That is
Okay.
correct.
So, just for my edification, I don't know if you still have that bathtub curve with the time value of money, but I know you know the equations on time value of money. Can you take 2007 versus what we're asking for on this millage rate and tell us where we're at if we're still under the curve as far as time value of money? And what that means, people don't understand time value of money, is like if you were running your household on, let's say, $50,000 a year, and 10 years later, you're running your household on $75,000 a year, but the time value of the money, that's the same. The extra $25,000 doesn't mean anything because of the prices went up and inflation and all that. So you're still basically running your household on the same amount of money. So I'd just like to have you bring that back when we, and if it's possible, because of the plethora of comments from Commissioner Hutcherson, if we could have an interim meeting to budget workshop before we come up with the final, so we can, as a commission, kind of, put and take any of the details.
Okay. That would typically be a Tuesday at 6. Would that work for everyone?
That would work for me. Do you agree with that?
Okay.
Okay. All right, sounds good. So what would you like to say?
Thank you, Patricia.
Can I ask Patricia?
Yes, Patricia, Commissioner Willis.
This millage rate, that 6.1644, that's the highest we can go at this point, right?
That is correct.
Okay. I also wanted to ask, could you give us the stats on the parking garage, how it's paying for itself?
So this year, there is some capital outlay that's being included in the budget. We don't normally have capital outlay, or we don't have such a significant number, but the Beach side, the heavy use, the bathrooms really do need to have some renovation. And there's some issues with, again, exposure to the salt air that's affecting the ductwork. So if you took out that 575 for the capital, your expenditures for this budget are 243, but the revenue is, 428. There's actually about $184,000 of revenue greater than the expenses. So by adding that capital outlay in, it does look like the expenses are much greater. But normally the parking garage makes much more revenue than it does take in costs. There's not a lot of costs to the maintenance of the garage, normal years considered.
And can you also, if you don't mind, can you speak, because I have received an email, just again, I think for the public, talking about paying off the CRA and our restrictions in which we would pay off that debt or pay down that debt?
So the CRA is got some very specific by state law how it functions, how you use the funds that go into it. As it relates to the debt, that debt was part of a combined actual special revenue bond issue. It had multiple cities, so that it was a very, very large debt issue, which got us a very, very low interest rate. And this particular revenue bond is sold on the secondary market. And so most of our special revenue bonds are bought entirely by a single financial institution. So it's kind of more like a bank debt. So we have a little more flexibility with those debts. But because this one actually went out on the secondary market, we can't just pay it off early. We can't change how the structure of that debt works in terms of paying the debt. It's also set up so that the revenues are restricted to paying off that debt. So those revenues that earned by the parking garage are actually what they call pledged to the debt repayment. So we have to pay the debt first and foremost with those revenues, and then we have anything left over that can go to other costs like the capital outlay.
Thank you.
I have one more question. Besides, as far as adjusting the millage rate down to 6.1, what else did you have to cut besides the vehicles?
So a lot of the projects were cut. For example, we did cut the $350,000 Blakely Street paving project. We did cut a lot of the public works projects, mostly because they're large dollar value, and we just had to cut. There was so much to cut. We cut a couple of positions. Some of the part-time positions were cut. The financial software was cut, even though that is in opposition to what our auditors recommend. The city's auditors are CRI. There have been some issues of concern with our current software. It's failing, but it's an expensive software to replace governmental financial software. So we've pushed that out to fiscal year 25 as well, because it is expensive. I don't think a single department or division was exempt from cuts. So it went from staffing down to projects, down to issues like the financial software. Also, just smaller cuts at the operational level. So just in supplies, we're just going to have to make it work.
Also, just noted on your memo, we detailed some information on insurance, and mainly because we just got those quotes in 2 weeks ago. So those numbers don't typically come in like June or July, so those are later numbers. But if you notice here, about $800,000 of an increase in our insurance. Again, we as a city are feeling the same thing as our residents feel, as the same as anyone else. Now that's a variation of that, whether it's general, auto, property, but that's on the memo. We did detail that because that's a change that we did not know when we gave you the first budget or we had the first conversations. Those numbers came in, I apologize.
After the budget workshop. And so that was another $800,000 that we had to cut from what you looked at on the 22nd.
So that was a lot of the changes we had to make too.
Thank you, Patricia.
Yes, we're very
I'm asking her these questions because now is not the time to be cutting budget. I mean, if anything, I wanted to raise it another $250,000 like they originally did the budget at, and to adjust it just down to the 6.16, which we can't go up anymore. We've had to cut a lot of stuff, like she was saying, infrastructure, staffing, vehicles, public works projects, insurance. We have to balance it for the insurance. Now is not the time to be looking to cut things. all the prices of everything's going up, inflation and all these cuts, and, I mean, I think we should go up more, but we can't. But that's why I'm supporting this 6.1644 mils for this fiscal year.
Yeah, she brings up a good point. There's a lot of stuff that we have to cut to make this budget work at this millage rate. We're not raising the millage rate, we're keeping it the same. And I understand a lot of you, and myself included, I have to budget myself and I have to make cuts for myself too to make my finances work. So I don't expect us as a government to do any less than what you guys would do yourselves. So it's just, a rollback is just not, it's not in the, it's just not gonna work for what we gotta do right now, so. So I've got a motion and a second, roll call or? Roll call?
All in favor, just.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
At your
Motion.
final meeting, it must be an individual roll call, just for
Okay.
note. Has to be turned into the state that way.
So next Tuesday, you'll be digesting this?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Motion passes 4-0. Next item.
Item 2, approve the tentative budget making appropriations for fiscal year 2024. Adoption of the budget by resolution number 2023-12 is scheduled for September 21, 2023. Representatives, Patricia Drakeout, Chief Financial Officer, Robin Hayes, City Manager. Recommendation approved.
Move to approve the tentative budget for fiscal year 2024.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any public comment on this budget? Go ahead.
Ricky Anderson, 1800 Minutemen Causeway, and I know I've corresponded with every one of you by way of email, and it's quite obvious from the cuts from this year's budget. These aren't cuts, these aren't one-time cuts. What these cuts are doing is building in a structural problem for future budgets. And going forward, I don't see any great increase in revenues until some of these large projects come online, and most of them are stalled. So we've created ourselves a structural budget deficit projecting out as far as we can see. So I think that the time is going to be now. Some tough decisions are going to have to be made about what kind of services we are going to be able to provide within the constraints of revenue that we've kind of put upon ourselves.
Thank you. All right, we have a motion. Anybody else out there want to say anything? All right, a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Motion passes 4-0. All right. Our commission organizational meeting, city attorney, would you like to?
Yes, regarding the city commission composition for A, mayor commissioner, seat 1, effective August 23rd, 2023, with Mayor Ben Malik's resignation, Vice Mayor Keith Capizzi changed commission seats from seat 2 to seat 1 to become mayor, serving a term ending with the November 2024 election, City Charter Section 2.06. B, Commissioner Seat 2. Accept nominations and vote for Commissioner Seat 2, swear in appointed Commissioner Seat 2, and public comment will be made before a vote on that.
I move to nominate Joshua Jackson for
Not yet, not
Commissioner
yet.
seat 2.
We're not there yet.
That's what it says. That's what the motion is. She read the item, and now there needs to be a motion.
No, we have to have public comment first.
No, you
before-
have it. If you aren't even going to take up the item by not having a motion, then you don't have public comment. So you have to have a motion.
I'd like to discuss the process first of how we're going to do this rather than
Well,
just.
that's not what it says.
Just take over the meeting like it. You know, we've got a lot of people out here that want to say something, and we owe it to them to be heard. So, public comment before we do this. I'd like to actually see what you guys think as well. I'd like to hear the public comments first, and then I'd like to discuss amongst each other who we've talked to, possibly who we've listened to, and then go from there as far as how we're going to vote. So public comment, Adrian Dillon.
Good evening, Mayor and Commissioners. Please do not nominate me, because if you did, I would tell you not to vote for me. I think our commission, our community needs some new blood. I served 2 terms. I really enjoyed being on the commission, but you got my best in the 2 terms that I served. The thing I enjoyed the most was gaining the respect of the city staff, learning a multitude of things that I never thought I would be exposed to. And I just would hope that someone that's committed to the community, that's willing to put in the work, because it's a lot of work if you do the job correctly. I hope you appoint someone who has that dedication, has that leadership, that they don't bully staff, that they know their place, and your place is to determine policy. And please, please, pick a person with some new ideas, new fire in the belly, and who really wants to serve our community. Thank you.
Thank you. I've got another John Cabord.
Good evening, Commissioners. My name is John Cabord. I am here this evening because I wish to serve as the Commission's appointee to the City Commission. My wife and I are residents of Cocoa Beach. My businesses are located within the city. My wife teaches middle school here, and our 4 children attend school in Cocoa Beach. I believe I'm qualified to serve in this position. I graduated from Cocoa Beach High, class of '99. I then went on to receive my BA from University of Florida, and then went on to graduate law school from Stetson College of Law. After that, I spent roughly 10-year career as a property and portfolio manager throughout the Southeast. Ultimately, I ended up managing a portfolio of properties concurrently in a lot of different jurisdictions. Those properties had a top-line revenue of about $15 million annually. I had 7 general managers reporting to me. They had about 50 other staff and team members. I believe my legal background affords me the necessary experience to understand the code and mechanics of the position. I believe my business experience affords me the practical and leadership experience necessary for the position. Every year I'd have to write 7 budgets and then defend them to the dollar. When answering to owners and investors, I always used a data-driven management style. I am submitting my name for consideration because I believe this is a unique time to serve the city in a unique way. I will not be running for this or any other seat in 2024, but rather I am volunteering to serve until the people can elect their representative. Each commissioner on the dais possesses a mandate from the people and the citizens of Cocoa Beach. Though each commissioner has different opinions and experiences, they are common in that they have a mandate from the citizens. This appointment is different in that the person appointed will not have been elected by our citizens, but rather by the 4 remaining commissioners. If appointed to this position for the remaining term, I intend to listen impartially to all the commissioners and citizens and make decisions in the best interest of the city. I believe the mandate from the commissioners is an appointee who is professional and open-minded, someone who comes in without any agenda, beyond a desire to vote in the best interests of the city. As such, if appointed, I have no intention to hobble together an agenda of mine for the remaining 16 months. Rather, I intend to listen with an open mind to the people and to my fellow commissioners, and to use my experience to vote in the best interests of our city. I would like to thank the Commission for their service to this community and the time they've given me here this evening. Should the Commission have me, I look forward to the opportunity to bring my experience to bear to serve alongside the Commission. Thank you. Y'all have a good evening.
Thank you, John. Is there anyone else that would like to get up and, go ahead, Rick.
Rick Anderson, 1800 Minutemen Causeway, and I guess I should have prepared a speech. I did not. All of you know me very well. You hear from me all of the time. I've attended more commission meetings over the past 5 or 6 years than anybody in this room, with the possible exception of the city officials. You know where I stand on issues. I'm an independent thinker. I believe in coming to meetings, and I believe in listening to public comment and making my judgment partially based on the public comment and not having a predisposed idea when I come in here. I'm an independent thinker. I absolutely love this city. I'm very passionate about this city, and I thank you for considering me.
Thank you, Rick. Is there anyone else that would like to speak to be nominated? Go ahead, Joshua.
Joshua Jackson, 123 La Riviere, Cocoa Beach. I think we have an excellent selection from our community of folks. I don't think you're going to go wrong with anybody you pick. I myself would put my hat in, having run and unsuccessfully, but put in the time and done the work. I understand the process. I understand the community. Value the time that you guys spend in studying, in learning. It's a familiar process to me. Within government, working within the processes, it's where I've spent my career. I understand that. Working within program management, making significant decisions that have long-term ramifications, familiar with that as well. But critical to me is, and I think it's been said by a couple folks, the commission is the voice of the people. We have a city government that functions and does its job. The commission is the voice of the people, and I think that's an imperative. So whoever you pick, please have someone that will listen closely. Thank you.
Thank you, Joshua. Anyone else that would like to be considered for this position? Is that it? Okay, so I would like to discuss with you guys maybe who you've talked to, why you would like to nominate them, and then we'll go through with, if you'd like to start the nomination, you're welcome, but I'd like to have a discussion first.
Okay. Well, I already disclosed that I wanted to nominate Joshua Jackson. He ran against me in the last election. I had several opportunities to talk to him and his wife, and it was plausible, even though he was running against me. We're talking about the future of the city and, the things that he's thinking and things I'm thinking. He was on the planning board at the time, and now he's the chairman of the planning board.
Board of Adjustment.
Which,
Board of Adjustments.
is it Board of Adjustment? Yeah, I'm sorry, Board of Adjustment, which is one of the most important boards in the city because they have to teeter-totter on all the gray areas of our code and our laws and get it right, okay? And from all the meetings I've watched, he's been very good in his position. He's listened to his fellow board members. He's listened to the public. He's listened to his attorneys and all the pertinent witnesses on every case, and led that board in a cordial manner. And I believe he could do the same as a commissioner. Not that he would lead this board, that's your job. But I believe that he lives here, and like John, he's got kids in school here. His wife works in the school here, kind of like Mr. Kabor. And I just think that he's already put himself out there. I think he does have a lot of fresh thoughts for the future of the city. He plans to live here the rest of his life. From what he told me, he's invested a lot of money into his home. And that's basically why I'm making him my nominee.
All right, and Caroline, is there anybody that you talked to or that you would like to bring up?
Yes, I would like to nominate Tim Tumulty. He's been on the commission. He was a mayor. He always decides on the best interest of the community. He volunteers. He's still very involved everywhere in the community, even now. I think he'd be a good fit for the time being that we need.
Okay. And did you want to say anything, Jeremy, or you?
Yeah, I mean, I'll say something on the process. I think there's all great candidates. I don't think it's, I mean, you can only have one winner, so I'm not, I think any of them that have volunteered their time would be completely successful at it. It's just a matter of who is the best. So in terms of process, I think we should go with a nomination.
Yeah, of course.
Majority rules, kind of.
So I'll just put it out there too. So I talked to a lot of people, obviously. A lot of people would like to help out with this position. I talked to Tim Tumulty. I think he's an excellent person. I talked with Joshua Jackson. I think he's fully capable, as you said. He's familiar with the board as well and how it works, Robert's Rules of Order. Rick, obviously, I mean, you're diehard. You are here no matter what, rain or shine, and you definitely could step right in and do this as well. I talked to Dave Nederstrom. Obviously, he could do it as well. Johnny Cabord, me and Johnny have talked a lot. He's a super smart dude, one of the smartest dudes I know. So he could definitely step right in and do this. That being said, I'm fully interested to hear your nominee. Thank you.
I'd like to nominate Josh Jackson.
A second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second for Joshua Jackson. Roll call.
Commissioner Hutcherson,
Aye.
Commissioner Wallace,
Nay.
Commissioner Williams,
Aye.
Mayor Capizzi.
Aye. Motion passes 4-0.
Time to swear him in.
Joshua Jackson, our new commissioner, thank you very much.
3-1.
Oh, 3-1, sorry. 3-1. So we swear him in now?
Yep.
It means you all are governed by 5 engineers. I don't know if that's good or bad.
Oh, no, what's worse? 5
Like to
surfers.
invite your rifles up here?
Are you a surfer?
Yeah. Green, arrow, and space.
It's Jackson.
Strategy.
Here's a cheat sheet.
That's it.
Welcome aboard.
I guess got
You
you.
would raise your right hand. After the word "I," state your name. I
I, Joshua Jackson,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support,
that I will support,
protect, and defend
protect, and defend
the Constitution and government of the United
the
States
Constitution and government of the United
and of the
States
state of Florida,
and of the state of Florida,
that I'm duly qualified
that I'm duly qualified
to hold office
to hold office
under the Constitution of the state,
under the Constitution of the state,
and that I will well and faithfully perform
and that I will well and faithfully perform
the duties of the City of Cocoa Beach Commissioner,
the duties of the Cocoa Beach Commissioner,
on which I am now about to enter.
on which I am now about to enter.
Congratulations. Thank you.
Thank you, Joshua. I believe he comes up to the podium now, right?
Oh,
Yes.
yeah. He's a voting member.
Yeah, you need to come up here.
So I just want to say, with my vote there, it was everyone that I think put in for it was equally qualified. And I said in the beginning that I wasn't going to fight anybody on this because I believe we all need to be, unified in it. And if we had a couple that were already interested in a certain person, that I would go with it because I think they were all great candidates. So thank you, all of you guys, Tim and Rick and Nederstrom, all you guys. So I appreciate you all putting your hat in there for me. All right, next item.
Okay. Item C, Vice Mayor. 1, appoint a Vice Mayor to serve until the November 2023 organizational meeting. The Vice Mayor past rotation schedule appointment is as follows: seats 5, 2, 4, and 3. 2023, seat 5, Hutcherson, is next in rotation, if following past practice. 2022, Capizzi, seat 2. 2021, Williams, seat 4. 2020, Wallace, seat 3. 2019, Miller, seat 5. 2018, Martinez, seat 2. 2017, Williams, seat 4. 2016, Wallace, seat 3. 2015, Miller, seat 5. 2014, Tumulty, seat 2. 2013, Williams, seat 4. 2012, Malik, seat 3. Representative, City Commission, recommendation, vote for Commissioner, seat 2, and appoint a vice mayor.
Jeremy, would you like this position?
Sure.
Okay.
I move to discuss. First of all, we already did the vote for Commissioner seat 2.
Vote for Commissioner, seat 2.
D1.
Oh, yes, okay.
Yeah.
And appoint, yes,
Strike that.
Yes.
So what we're doing is appointing a vice mayor.
absolutely.
Okay, so Lori, this has always been an honor bestowed on a commissioner based on a rotation.
Correct.
Okay, so it's not like we've followed that rotation for years and years and years. So we're kind of out of the rotation, but to stay in the rotation, would it be the correct thing to do to make Commissioner Hutcherson the vice mayor? And then when we hit 2024 and have our next organizational meeting, he would still be vice mayor for the following year after that. Would that be correct?
Sure, or the commission usually has an organizational meeting in November. So you could either appoint Commissioner Hutcherson until November, or you could appoint him until.
Okay, but the normal rotation would be come November.
Correct.
It would be Commissioner Hutcherson's seat.
Correct.
So I would move that we appoint Vice Mayor, Commissioner Hutcherson as Vice Mayor to serve until the 2024 November organizational meeting.
Till what, December? Is that?
2024 organizational meeting, which is after the election in 2024 in November.
The same time that would go to next person anyways?
That way, you'd stay in the rotation.
That's fine.
We get like 2 months bonus month between
You
now
mean so
and
he'd
November.
be vice mayor all through next year?
Well, he would have been that anyway by the current rotation if the mayor would have stayed on until November.
Yeah, but, I mean, the way it fell, that's how it worked out, so.
Well, this way, you'd only be able to be vice mayor for 2 months.
So maybe I want to be vice mayor next year.
Why, on your way out?
Last year.
You're terming out.
Like Doug, vice mayor. I give you what. I mean, you could.
You're
make
not
logic.
even next in the rotation.
What?
You're not even next in the rotation.
I think I am, aren't I?
No,
4.
no.
4.
It would be me.
Well, I think it's fair that.
No, all right, I made
You don't
my
want this
motion.
guy as vice mayor.
I made my motion that Commissioner Hutcherson be my vice mayor until our organizational meeting in November of 2024, and we continue to follow the rotation of honorability for selecting our vice mayor. I'll look for a second.
Second.
Okay.
All right, we got a motion and a second. Let's have a public discussion.
Tim Tumulty, Cocoa Beach. I wanted to bring this up at some point. I believe the rotation kind of lacks a little bit of common sense. And just to follow the rotation just because it's been the rotation isn't really necessarily the best way to go about it either. I would suggest that we get back onto a rotation where a newly elected commissioner would not be vice mayor until his 3rd or 4th term, or 4th year. That way you've got 2 years under your belt on the commission, and then you become vice mayor. In Mayor Capizzi's situation, it was basically like that. It was the third year of that particular seat's term, and he just happened to be in that seat because of the
So you're saying
unexpected election.
you would have rather it been me that became mayor because I'm the senior commissioner?
I'm not saying what I'd rather of anything, Commissioner. I'm simply stating a opinion of what I think would be the best path going forward in the future of our commission, is to allow the commissioners, newly elected commissioners, 2 years in the seat and 3 years in the seat before they become vice mayor. That's all I'm suggesting. There's a simple way to figure, to make that happen. As you've mentioned, you've got 5 engineers up there. I'm sure you can figure out how to do that if you believe that that's the thing that you all want to do. If you want to continue on with, hey, your first or second year you can be a vice mayor without any experience on the commission, potentially, then you can go that way. It's just my opinion, and thought I'd bring it to you guys, to your attention, and see what you think about it. Kind of makes sense to me.
Can I come in?
Sure.
So, thanks, Tim. It does make a lot of sense, okay? But, in my 16 years on this commission, it's always been following the rotation. Carolyn was her first year on the commission, she was vice mayor, okay? Yeah, her first year, she was vice mayor. She huddled through it. Basically it's anything that the mayor doesn't want to do or doesn't have time to do or has a conflict to do.
I'm not debating what the position is of
But
the
again,
vice
we
mayor.
have term limits now, and you say, well, you need to have 2 years under your belt. Anyway, that's a discussion for our policy discussion at the end of the year when we go over our commission policy. So we'll take that in mind and deal with that then, and I'll stand by my current motion.
All right.
Can I say something?
Yeah, you're welcome to say something, Carolyn.
I think go ahead with the rotation now until we have the meeting at the end of the year to decide who's going to be next vice mayor. And when we, up till that point, if we can have a discussion, a formal discussion on should we keep this rotation process as is or update it with something like Tim says or have a new way of doing it and have some meeting about that or an agenda item about that. And then we'll decide for next year at that meeting in December what we're going to do forward.
That makes kind of sense, except that we don't do our policy revision till after November.
We can always do a policy, we can call a policy revision whenever we want.
Well, I just stand by my motion to go with Jeremy up to November of 2024. And I think I had a second.
Looks like we have another public comment. I assume that last comment was to indicate that I'm less than qualified to be here, but I appreciate it.
No. Melissa Byram, Cocoa Beach. I beg to differ with you, Commissioner Willis. Your first term, they changed the rotation. You were not the vice mayor. No, Commissioner Miller was. You guys swapped it.
I was.
No, she was. She was.
I know we swapped it out. One time you did. It does. What would it hurt to make Commissioner Willis vice mayor until the first of the year, and then the rotation doesn't add more months to it, and then let Commissioner Hutchinson roll right into his position? I mean, you only have a couple months. Let an outgoing commissioner.
I'm not outgoing this year. It's next year.
But she is going to go out the next year. So, but that way you have another commissioner be a vice mayor for just a few months. I mean, it's very strange. This whole season has been completely strange with appointments here and appointments there and elections here and whatever. I think it would be, it'd be a nice honor to let her be vice mayor for a couple months.
Thank you very much. So I have no opposition if you want to be vice mayor till his normal term would come. That's fine with me also. It just depends on however you guys want to do it.
Well, we got a motion. We need to vote on it. We can't change.
So we got a motion to make Jeremy vice mayor, and we have it. Was that a second?
It was.
Okay, we have a motion and a second.
Through November
2024. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay.
Okay, motion passes 4-1. Are we going to call a quick, or not a quick recess, we're going to call a recess to go to our CRA meeting? And then we'll be back for our regular commission meeting after this.
Regularly scheduled broadcast.
But we were going to restart it as we go. So the CRA meeting starts now. Call to order. Roll call.
Board of Commissioner Hutcherson.
Here.
Board of Commissioner Williams. Walk down.
No, this is just to go to our CRA meeting now.
Board of Commissioner Willis.
Oh, I was in elementary school recess.
Half hour.
Should I start again? Board of Commissioner Hutcherson.
Here.
Board of Commissioner Williams.
Here.
Board of Commissioner Willis.
Here.
Board of Commissioner Catizzi.
Here.
You've got a new one.
Oh, I'm sorry. Board of Commissioner Joshua.
Here.
All right. So, does anybody have any reports or announcements on the board here?
Are we doing that reports and announcements at our regular meeting?
Yeah, I think we'll do that again as well. Or actually we did before.
Okay. All right. I guess I can make an announcement. So I've been kind of spending a lot of time with my 96-year-old mother, especially spending nights over there. And if she's had a good night, I get up at 4:30. She's sleeping, I kind of jostle her and say, hey, do you need to get up and go to the bathroom? Because I kind of monitor when she does that so she doesn't fall. And she goes, no, I'm good till you get back. I said, okay, I'm going to go home, make coffee. I'll be back in 30 minutes. Saturday night into Sunday morning, I'm driving down Minuteman. She lives right over here. 32 miles an hour probably. Out from the side street on the left, 3 electric bikes, no lights, no stopping at the stop sign, going 30 plus miles an hour because they got the cut off cross right in front of me, like I wasn't even there, and headed right down the road, 3 wide, down the road, no lights. And, that's dangerous as hell. I could have took all 3 of them out. And, there's got to be some kind of regulation on these electric bikes, especially, and they were juveniles, not young, teenager-type juveniles. There's got to be some kind of regulation because, I can't imagine the liability I would have been involved in if I would have run into them. But, that wouldn't make up for somebody getting, injured, killed, or maimed for life. And, at a minimum, they need to have lights and they need to follow the rules of the road. So I'm sure that'll go into a future discussion sometime. But even our mayor has lights on his electric vehicle.
Yes, that's correct. It's actually the law to have a light on your bike at night and follow the rules of the road. So we do have regulations. We just need to make sure they're followed. Anybody else? Okay. Staff reports?
No CRA information tonight, sir.
Okay. Consent agenda. City Attorney?
Yes, item 1, approve the March 2nd, 2023 CRA minutes. Representative, City Clerk's Office, recommendation approved. That's it.
Move to approve.
You got a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Motion passes 5-0. Next on the agenda?
New business, 1, adopt resolution CRA 2023-01, a resolution of the Downtown Cocoa Beach Community Redevelopment Agency, Cocoa Beach, Florida, adopting a budget for the fiscal year ending September 30, 2024, directing the administrator to transmit this resolution to the City Commission of the City of Cocoa Beach and providing an effective date. Representative Karen Groom, Public Information Officer Patricia Draycott, Chief Financial Officer. Recommendation approved.
Move to approve resolution for the CRA 2023-1 as read.
Second.
I've got a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes 5-0. Our next CRA meeting is going to be September 21st. And do we have any public comments that were not on the agenda? All right, no public comments. That adjourns our CRA meeting, and then we're going to go back into our, we're going to give, well, actually, we're going to have a really quick break after this, if you want to just wait real quick. I'm just trying to get it because we have Senator Mayfield here, and I don't want her to have to stick around too long. Sorry about that. All right, let's re-adjourn our commission meeting, our regular commission meeting. We have a special presentation by Senator Debbie Mayfield, and City Attorney, if you would read the item.
Yes, this is presentation of a check to the City of Cocoa Beach totaling $2,250,000 for state-funded projects. The 2 state-funded Indian River Lagoon cleanup projects are for the Cocoa Beach Bicentennial Park, $1,250,000, and for the Cocoa Beach Gravity Sewer Rehabilitation Project, $1 million. Representative, Senator Debbie Mayfield.
Thank you guys for allowing me to come and do this. Thank you, Mayor, for letting me attend your city council member and all your city council members. And I just want to give a personal thanks to Mayor Black. Where did you go? You're back. You're going to be missed. He contributed a lot to this community. He came to Tallahassee to visit on your behalf, and he's had a great impact on the city of Cocoa Beach. And you are going to be missed, but I do wish you well in your next journey. You know, we all know that the Indian River Lagoon is an impaired water body. And anything that we can do to help improve the water quality is an improvement of our quality of life and the way that we live it here on the Space Coast. And I am proud to present to the City of Cocoa Beach with a check for $2,250,000 for the funding that was secured through this past legislative session. And the funds represent the $1,250,000 for the Bicentennial Park and the Cocoa Beach Gravity Sewer Rehabilitation Program for $1 million. These are crucial projects in addressing our stormwater runoff as well as our infrastructure improvements to ensure the reliability and the functionality of our sewer systems and our waterways. And I will also tell you, your lobbyists, and I know you were up there too, Kim McDougall, who you hired as your lobbyist, did an outstanding job working this project. We normally have to have a House sponsor and a Senate sponsor to get appropriations, member appropriations in the budget and through the process. Unfortunately, we did not have a member to support it, but between Kim and myself, working the Senate and she working House leadership, we were able to get that in the budget this year. And so we are proud, and I'm proud to present. And Ian Nolan was my legislative aide that handles appropriations. So he is the one that really worked with Kim to make sure that this stayed in the process. So you get a check. Now I wouldn't run this to the bank and cash it. I don't think they would take it. But that's right. The
Crowd
price is
in.
right.
Crowd in.
Is it made out of cash?
I'm gonna be on the back side.
Okay.
Maybe on the back side.
Thank you very much.
Horse put in your garage. New City Hall, so we can.
Thank you very much, Senator Mayfield. That's amazing, and you're welcome. We're about to celebrate our former Mayor Ben. You're welcome to stay for a cake and refreshments. City Attorney, next item.
Yes, item 2, presentation of a proclamation recognizing Ben Malik for his past service as Cocoa Beach Mayor and Commissioner, Representative City Commission. And the city clerk will read the entire proclamation.
Proclamation. Whereas Ben Malik has resided in the city of Cocoa Beach since 2007. From the start, Ben Malik has been an engaged resident. In 2008, he was appointed to the planning board and served as a member of the board until 2012. And whereas in 2010, Ben Malik filed paperwork declaring to run for Commissioner Seat 4. He arrived to qualify after the end of the qualifying period, thus his name did not appear on the November 2010 ballot. And whereas in 2012, Ben Malik was elected as Commissioner for Seat 3 and served until he became Mayor Commissioner in 2016. He served as mayor until his resignation on August 22nd, 2023. His motto for serving was to improve the city of Cocoa Beach without sacrificing the small town charm in order to encourage future generations to come live in Cocoa Beach. And whereas Mayor Ben Malik chaired the commission meetings with poise and kindness, even with frequent nudges on how to conduct meetings and some members of the public questioning his voting motives just because his profession is banking, his patience became a virtue. He often would reply, "Just be kind." And whereas Mayor Ben Malik and the City Commission in 2020 and 2021 provided unprecedented leadership by adopting protecting measures against coronavirus. And whereas, sounding at times like a broken record, Mayor Malik repeated the need for sensible development and redevelopment of the city. He often explained the need to recognize the city's rendered services and the need for residents to pay their fair share of city taxes. He referred to how surrounding areas were progressing, relating the state of their economy and promoting the need for Cocoa Beach to do better. And whereas Mayor Malik advocated the necessity to modernize the city's infrastructure. Under the commission and his leadership, the city constructed a fire station, the downtown parking garage, a police station, and authorized proceeding with engineering plans for a new city hall. Sustainability was also an important subject, thus the approval of many water treatment projects. Now therefore, on behalf of the city of Cocoa Beach, I, Keith Capizzi, Mayor, hereby respectfully and wholeheartedly thank past Mayor Ben Malik and his family by expressing sincere gratitude and appreciation for his exemplary performance and citizenship. On behalf of the residents, City Commission, and city staff, we thank him for his many years of dedicated service and wish him all the best of continued success and happiness. Signed by Mayor Capizzi on September 6, 2023.
Let's see what's in here. I think it's probably for you.
That's a framed version of your.
No. Congrats. I'll put it back in the bottle.
Likewise.
Or do you want to take it out? You want to take this out for the picture instead of the little bitty one?
Yeah. Make it nice.
Can you guys crowd in again?
Yeah.
Excuse me, man. Could you tell them to crowd in a bit? I don't want to nudge. I don't want to be in front, man.
Come this way, Mayor. Come inside.
Well, I get to go on the big, I get to go to the big table.
You probably should be in the front row.
Go to the big boys table.
Front
Ben.
row?
Nice job. Indian.
Awesome. Thanks, guys.
On the way of 15 is going to be the big
And we've
day.
got something else for you. I'm going to read it.
All right. Oh, here's an extra copy. Oh, you want to put that back in there, please? Go ahead and read it.
All right, Ben, we've also got another, I guess like a tabletop plaque, if you want to call it. It says, Mayor Ben Malik, your selfless contributions have left an indelible mark on our community. Your unwavering commitment to serving the public has inspired us all. This is from the city of Cocoa Beach from 2012 to 2023. Ben, I want to say it's been great being up here with you. You're amazing, honestly. I've watched you up here, the way that you deal with even me in the past without having all the knowledge that I've had. I've actually had to apologize to Ben for getting up and speaking without being fully educated. So, sitting up here, just so you guys all know, you get a much different perspective. You get a lot more knowledge and a lot more behind the scenes information that sometimes the reason why we do things are different than you would think because we have different knowledge than you. So, Ben, I appreciate everything that you've done for us. So thank you. And if anybody else wants to say anything, you're welcome at this time. Any other commission? Go ahead, Carolyn.
Ben, I've only had you as mayor as a commissioner, so I've learned a lot from you, and I really enjoyed working with you all these years, and thanks for everything you taught us and you taught me, and for encouraging me to join the commission. So I'll never forget you, Ben. Thank you.
All right, guys. So we'll do a quick recess for cake and refreshments. You guys are all welcome to stay for that. And now you can go to the bathroom.
gotta stay.
City attorney, or let's see, approval of the agenda? You guys want to approve this agenda?
I move to approve the agenda.
Okay, I got a motion?
Second.
Motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
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 Thank you.
All opposed? All right, motion passes 5-0.
You are an engineer. I'm an honorary engineer.
Any public comments about items that are not on the agenda? Go ahead, Rick.
Rick Anderson, 1800 Minutemen Causeway, and I want to thank all of you. I'm really humbled and honored that I would even be considered for a position. I know Mr. Jackson's going to make a great commissioner. I'd like to address the process a little bit, especially as the way it's worded in the charter, where it says, I believe, and not quoting me directly, but it says that the commission may appoint a commissioner to an open seat, which to me means that they may not, if they so choose. And I see that problematic going forward. I think that the process needs to be a lot more structured and dictate that somebody has to be appointed within a certain time period, within a certain procedure, because the problem I see going forward is this seat could have stayed empty theoretically until a year from November. Anything requiring a 4-1 vote or a 5-0 vote couldn't have possibly passed, because it's stated in the charter that it needs a 4-1 vote. So going forward, at some point in the future, if there were only 4 commissioners, I could see a scenario where a couple of commissioners could hold up a whole year's worth of legislation or progress just by exercising their option to not appoint a commissioner. So I'd like to see that structure a little more defined.
Thank you, Rick. Anyone else? Go ahead.
Thank you. Good evening, Mayor, Commissioners. Janice Scott, Cocoa Beach. After the last commission meeting, when Mike Johnson talked about the lithium batteries, talked with a few people about it, and it's a very serious problem, and I hope that the fire department will make some public comments in the future about how things are going, and also perhaps put things on the CBNN. I don't have a electric car that you plug in, but that's another thing when people get those cars and then they go and have some fly-by-night modify the outlet that they plug them into to charge. But anyway, there was a comment about getting a fire suppression blanket or something that they use for these lithium fires that you could put over your bicycle if it catches on fire in your garage. But I think people would like to know where to get that and what would be the best things to do, because if you park your car outside, it's not as big a problem as when you park it in the garage. My car it's a hybrid. It makes an awful lot of noise when it gets parked, but then it's quiet. I don't plug it in. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Public comment that's not on the agenda? All right. Staff reports.
Other than just congratulations to each of you, that new seat and new title. And we'll work to put the item on the agenda, hopefully for the next Tuesday for the workshop. Other than that, we'll reach out to you and provide you that information.
And as far as what Mr. Anderson was saying, as far as changing that policy to say we must do somebody by a certain amount of time, that's again something we would consider during our commissioner policy discussion, and then it could go forward into our charter and wherever it needs to go according to Becky.
Yes, sir, we'd introduce it if that's something she suggests that we do.
Yes, in order to change the charter, we need to go through the process for an election.
Right, so it would be next November, but we would discuss it during our policy meeting.
You can, yes.
Okay. City attorney reports?
Nothing, thank you.
All right. City commission, anything else that you guys would like to mention? No? All right. I'll just say, again, I'm thankful for Ben serving all them years, and Joshua, I really appreciate you stepping up to the plate. I had a lot of discussion with him prior, and I'm confident that he's going to do an excellent job and the will of the people, and I'm confident that he's also for progressing forward, so I like that. Thank you. And Jeremy, thank you for stepping up to the plate as Vice Mayor.
Sure.
And we'll go on to our consent agenda.
Okay, this is the consent agenda. Item 1, approve the August 29, 2023 Commission meeting minutes. Representative, City Clerk Department, recommendation approved. Item 2, approve staff to negotiate with 13 contractors selected from the submittal of the Continuing Engineering Services Request for Qualifications, RFQ CB 23-003. The RFQ Evaluation Committee recommends that the following firms be offered continuing engineering service contracts: 8 KOI Inc., Baxter and Woodman Inc., Black and Beach Corporation, Chastain Gilman Inc., Civil Serve Design Group Inc., Carnahan Proctor and Cross Inc., CPH LLC, ESC Florida LLC, Geosyntec Consultants Inc., Herndon Solutions Group, Infrastructure Solutions Services, Kimley Horn and Associates Inc., Metric Engineering Inc. Representative Wayne Caragino, Assistant to City Manager. Recommendation approved. Item 3, extend the agreement with Cocoa Beach Auto Repair Inc. from November 1, 2023 through December 31, 2023 to permit staff to review the statement of work for Wrecker Services. Representative Wes Mullins, Deputy Police Chief Robin R. Hayes, City Manager. Recommendation approved.
Move to approve the consent agenda as read.
Second.
I got a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes 5-0. Let's see. Unfinished business?
Yes, this is J, unfinished business. Item 1, adopt ordinance number 1680 on first reading, an ordinance of the City of Cocoa Beach, Brevard County, Florida, approving a planned development with accompanying development agreement and amending the official zoning map of the City of Cocoa Beach by changing the zoning designation from Redevelopment Gateway to PD Planned Development for a parcel of land totaling 7.9 acres, more or less, located on the north side of West Cocoa Beach Causeway, on parcels identified with parcel number 24-37-34-03, star 28, 24-37-34-03, star 16. 24-37-34-03, star 28.01. 24-37-34-03, star 9.01. 24-37-34-03, star dash 9. 24-37-34-03, star 1.01. 24-27-34-03, star dash 1. 24-37-34-03, star dash 7. 24-37-34-03, star dash 7.01. And 24-37-34-03 star dash 9.02 within the public records of Brevard County, Florida, providing for authorization, providing for conflicts, providing for severability, and providing for an effective date. The Drift Project, with property address 375 West Cocoa Beach Causeway, involves the redevelopment of a 7.9-acre site with a 220-unit multi-family project with an amenities package and 2 waterfront restaurant retail establishments with riverfront and dock access open to the public. The applicant is Cole Oliver, EKS Sooner 1 LLC. City Representative Jay Castello, Chief Building Official Tanja McCoy, Development Services Director. Recommendation, adopt ordinance.
Move to adopt ordinance number 1680 on first reading.
Second.
I got a motion, a second. Is there any comments?
One comment from the discussion, if we can have discussion at the commission.
Sure.
Is Tanja here?
So Tanja is not here this
Okay.
evening, so I can either answer or I'll
I
bring
think
Jay.
all the lower level documents on this actually say 221 units. Can that be researched and be corrected for the second reading?
Yes, sir.
That's considered a minor change, I would think,
Oh, yeah, that would be a minor change.
and it wouldn't have to be re-advertised. It says
In here is
220.
221, and there is 220.
Yeah, in the development agreement, it says 221, and in this, it says 220.
Okay,
Just looking for some consistency.
sure.
Yeah, we'll make the adjustments and bring it
For the
back to
second
second reading, so. I know we discussed that at the discussion.
Okay, I don't have to make an amendment to do that
Yes, sir,
now.
we'll correct it.
Okay.
Any other comments? Sure. Go ahead.
Janice Scott, Cocoa Beach. I would like someone to state what the height of this building's going to be here, these apartment buildings. Also, where in the ordinance, it says the dock is open to the public. Is there somewhere on the support documents that went out with the agenda online that shows how many boats and what kind of activity is going to be allowed in that public docking? And last but not least, Mayor Capizzi, this is a very popular fishing spot on that bridge. And there used to be a public park there that was vacated maybe 50 years ago to one of the restaurants that was there. I would like the commission to look into how they can do something for the parking situation. That's going to be a lot of cars with 221 units. It's already a big problem with the Starbucks having a lot of accidents on at that light. But, there is so little space anymore for the public to go to the river and do anything. And because it's such a popular place when the Red Drum and everything are running, could you think about that, 5 engineers, and think of how you can maintain the public fishing there? Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, you may.
My understanding in going through this is the public dock and the boat spaces are all on the west side of the property and won't be on the north side of the property on the residential canal, okay? And that currently, the people that go down and park at the end of that street and go fishing there or fishing off the bridge are going into a property that has a no trespassing sign. So it's currently private property not being enforced and not being trespassing people for going fishing there.
So I'll say, to add to that we can't tell private business what to do with their property. That's personal property rights. Again, from what I understand, they're not going to need any variances for height, so I don't think there's anything to worry about there. They're going to be having restaurants down below. I'd imagine the docks would be for visiting those restaurants. At any rate, I believe that this would be a great thing for the community, especially rather than a dirt lot. But any other comments?
The developer, when he was here, obviously it's not binding, but he did say his intent was not to lock that off, to just not keep people camped out. So it sounded like he was willing to have.
Yeah, it's going to be a public area down below. So I'm okay with whatever we got to do to make this easier for them. It'll be better than that weed pit lot. So we've got a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes 5-0. Second
Okay.
item.
This is item 2, adopt ordinance number 1682 on first reading, an ordinance of the City of Cocoa Beach, Florida, amending Section 15-39. Certain sales and leases along the Ocean Beach Park are prohibited, except pursuant to a license agreement of Chapter 15 offenses of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Cocoa Beach, revising provisions as to business license agreements, providing for conflicts, codification, severability, and an effective date. Staff Representative Wes Mullins, Deputy Police Chief Tanja McCoy, Development Services Director, recommendation adopt.
I move to discuss.
Yes?
Second.
Okay, we have a motion, a second to discuss. Go ahead.
I just wanted to say, I think you all got emails about this from the beach vendors, and I just wanted to hear what they have to say. It seems like they have a lot of concerns about this, and I think we should hear them out.
I agree as well, and considering what they have to say, I would also be willing to table it if they bring up some stuff that makes us concerned about that. So let's start off with, or go ahead.
One thing that really stuck out to me from what I heard from the public's interpretation of the ordinance is that if there was somebody vacated a spot and a license was available, that the city could put it up for bid to the highest bidder. And, we're not eBay. I think, right now it's like in the $5,000 a year range. Unless we, as a commission, feel a need to raise that amount, I think we should have a set amount and not create a bidding war amongst our locals that have been doing this forever, and maybe even get some deep pocket out-of-towner to come in and outbid everybody. So,
And to add on to that, I know we had like a waiting list, established a waiting list too, for the next person to be available to purchase.
Right.
So somehow to incorporate that when that does happen, I think we got to
right.
make
So
sure.
why put them in a bidding war against somebody that's not even on the list that
Right.
could just outbid them? So we set parking fees. We raised them, I think, as high as we need to, $5 an hour.
Yeah.
I think it's high enough.
I agree.
With the beach vendors, like any other business, you work a few months out of the year just to pay your taxes and pay your fees, before you can start actually making money. So
Probably make them wrestle for it.
arm wrestle?
Yeah.
Well, I did some of the girls that work out
joking.
there. I don't think I want to arm wrestle.
All right, let's get some public comment. There you go, guy. Jim Walsh.
You sit in a cube all day, they're working.
How you doing? I run the beach rentals at the Beach Shack, and when all of us got together, all the beach owners, and would just like to have maybe a meeting with the city, anything that's trying to change, and trying to talk to us so we can all figure out who's benefiting from it, why it's trying to change, instead of just leaving stuff how it is. And it's really confusing for us, honestly, to try to figure out why anything's even changing the way it is. So that's all I gotta say. Thank you.
Thank you, Jim. Scott McCavely. Hope I said that right.
My name's Scott McCauley. Basically been doing beach rental for probably 20 years in the city. And we're those people, we're the frontline people. When they come down and they want to rent a chair, an umbrella, we try to get to know them a little bit, and they want to know, ask us questions like, where would you go eat tonight if I want seafood, or, can you recommend a hotel, so we're the people down there that are directing tourists and trying to make them feel at home in our little town. And we're the people that basically employ local employees. I'm talking high schoolers, I'm talking college kids, I'm talking people that want to work down on the beach and possibly have fun, and that's becoming harder and harder, is just trying to find somebody. We're also those people that paid those fees, the $4,000 going into COVID, and basically got shut down on the beach, and basically would sit out there day to day to day and not have one umbrella, one surfboard, nothing rented out for an entire season. And you've got your insurance at $800 a year. You've got the city fees at $4,000, and you're just sitting there trying to make ends meet. But we didn't come to you guys and go, hey, can you help us out? You know, you shut down the beach. We're out here suffering. I don't think anybody ever approached anybody at the city and goes, hey, we need help. We took care of it ourselves. You know, we enjoy what we're doing. We try to be the front line. If we see tourists putting trash on the ground, leaving cans, we're always there picking that up, even if it wasn't our people, even if it was just the people that got out of their car and came down there and sat on a beach towel. We're still cleaning up our areas. We're putting them in the trash can. We're making sure it gets done. So I would like you to think, you know, that we are the people that have been down there for 20 plus years, and we're trying to make this our living. We're trying to pass this on to our young ones and let to see them, you know, actually take the business that we grew and run with it. Another thing is, I don't know if any of you guys are business owners that are sitting up there. I mean, if you actually run a business day to day like I do, I have 4 businesses, everything from off-road truck parts to a window company to every tiki hut in this town. I've built it, from the pier to Jazzy's Mainly Lobster to the beach shack. I employ all local people. Now, the problem that I have is that you guys are giving a year to year to year contract. So am I supposed to buy $8,000 worth of new umbrellas and chairs coming into this fall, not knowing if I'm going to get my contract extended into next year? It's impossible as a business owner to just go to year to year to year, not knowing what I should invest. It's impossible. So, I mean, if you give me a 5-year contract, a 7-year contract, then I don't mind spending $10,000 in new equipment to make my stuff look brand new on the beach. But if you're only going to do it year to year, I have a hard time making that investment in the fall going into the next year, knowing that I may not even be in business. Thank you.
Thank you. Good point, Scott. Sean Duncan.
Hello, everyone. My name is Sean Duncan. I'm joined here today by my brother-in-law and business partner, Jimmy, as well as my mother and my employer, Connie. I will state that I do agree with keeping the Uplander in our contract with the city, as well as seeking to reestablish the previous 7-year or multi-year contract with the city of Cocoa Beach. I believe it's important, without longer contracts in place, to touch on what Scott said, it becomes hard for us to decide if we need to invest in replacing or repairing some of our damaged things from throughout the year. But we're all small businesses, and I think we can make this work. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Sean. Julie Stein.
Hello, City Commissioners, and thank you for your time. I love this town and its small town feel and charm. A big part of that charm is a lack of chain restaurants and chain stores that clutter so many other beach towns. Our town has managed to minimize that, and that's one of many reasons visitors come back year after year. I and other licensed beach vendors have been catering to our visitors and have served our community for many years. I myself have been operating my beach rental business from the Hilton Cocoa Beach oceanfront for 15 successful years without any incidents in that 15-year history. I have kept my contract with the Hilton because they feel I operate up to the high standards they require in providing exemplary customer service to their guests. Every year, I purchase new chairs and umbrellas and have a dedicated repair person who keeps my equipment in optimal condition. My monetary investment in my equipment is an ongoing effort in order to keep up with the standards that are expected of my business. If only a one-year agreement is given to our beach rental businesses, it will inhibit them from investing money on new and safe equipment and hiring quality employees who are seeking longevity. By maintaining a 7-year term contract or more, you are investing in our community by providing job stability for our employees, allowing us to provide quality and safe equipment to our visitors, and helping to support small businesses, which are the heartbeat of this community. Why have there been so many numerous repeated changes to our contract throughout the years when we all have been in good standing with the city and our upland owners for so many years? It is stressful for us to constantly be worried about the longevity of our contracts. It affects our financial security and peace of mind for the future of our livelihood. Based on a recent article in the Daytona Beach News Journal, Volusia County was approached by a large rental company operating in a handful of cities around the state, and that company tried to take over beach rentals for the entire Volusia County beaches. But the county decided to support its small independent beach concessions businesses. As the article reads in part, the county praised the small beach rental operations that have stuck through 30, 40, 50 years, through thick and thin, through storms, through COVID, and never gave up. Volusia County prevented a monopoly from being formed and prevented putting local business vendors who lived and worked there for years out of business. We have all lived and worked in this town, if not for a lifetime, for many years, and have contributed to serve our community and the visitors who bring millions of dollars of revenue to our charming little surf town. All vendors in good standing should be allowed to continue to serve our community and our visitors for many years to come, and without being in fear of losing livelihoods to companies seeking to monopolize our beaches. I also wanted to request a table of the first reading of the ordinance so that we could have a round table to discuss one-on-one, or not one-on-one, sorry, but collectively as a group with the people pertinent to this issue.
Thank you, Julie.
What people have mentioned in the term, longer term agreement, and what I'm looking at on page 5 of 8, in, okay, 5 of 8, it's F on line 276.
I'm looking at 5 of 9, or 6 of 9 is where it
He's
is.
got the incorporated version. Yeah, it's 6 of the 9.
I've got the
Yes.
clean version. The clean version.
Oh, the clean version?
The section is
Okay.
term. It's either F or G.
Okay.
The clean version.
The term of the license agreement shall be no more than 7 years. I think
Yeah,
is where
so
you're-
I mean, it's,
Well, it says no more than 7 years. Okay, so
Right.
that's if you don't need the upland
Right.
property owner's agreement. And then it says, or the term approved by the upland property owner, which
whichever's shorter.
they have to have the upland property owner that gives that right to the property owner to say, I'm only giving you 1 year. And
Yeah.
we can't force the upland property owner to give them more than whatever they want to give them, right?
Correct.
Okay, but on a regular one where you didn't have to have the upland property,
It'd be 7 years.
it'd be 7 years.
So I'm confused as to why.
We're not putting
Okay.
a restriction on, is what you're saying. We're not changing.
We're not changing that.
Cities, yeah.
Okay, there's people that are confused about that. I just want to point that out because that's the way
Right,
I
and
read
another
it.
thing that I think and maybe we need to change this, but if you look on the red line version of it, the part about the public advertised and offered invitation for proposal, that was in the original. We didn't add that.
Okay.
Now, whether it was ever done, I have no idea.
No, okay, but the proposal should be based on, like we do our bids for city hall or fire station or police station. We don't pick the lowest bidder, we pick the most qualified.
Absolutely.
So I would think that the beach vendors would be chosen based on their qualification. If there's more than one applicant for an open spot, then it would be
Right.
based on qualifications and not how much money they had.
Right, and also each one of the locations, and there are different types of beach vendors, obviously. So everyone doesn't pay the same thing, because some of them have just, for instance.
Right, there's 3 different things they could do. They could do construction, beach rentals, and food and beverage. Yeah, I understand that. Okay.
But the chairs, those people, some places have very limited number of setups. Other places have huge number of setups. So it's not the same dollar amount. It shouldn't be the same dollar amount.
Well, then
It should be
I think
commensurate
I'm getting
with
what these people are saying. We should sit down and say, if you've got, a huge area, and I've got just the spot in front of my upland property owner, I shouldn't be paying the same fee as somebody with a huge area.
Yeah, it shouldn't be that way. It should be different.
Unless that person with the potentially huge area is restricted to just a portion of that area comparable to the other people that have licenses.
Right.
So I'm encouraged to, we'll hear the rest of the public comment, but I'm encouraged to table it until we can have a workshop and try to iron this out with the actual vendors in our community.
I agree with you.
Well, I'll just say, to save time, if we decide to table this, do you guys still want to get up and say your public comments? You do? Okay. Liz Sutter?
No, Connie Duncan.
Okay, but
You don't know Connie, Keith?
I know. I'm just saying. I'm just trying to say, like, does Liz want to say anything, or? Okay. All right. We're going to table it, and then go ahead, Connie. No, I was just going through the list.
I just want to say that I just got the renewal of a contract. It's going to be with my children. They're going to be doing the beach rental now, and it is for only 1 year. So I am the uplander, and I have an uplander contract for 1 year only.
That, I didn't do it. I don't know
but
who prepared
I'm just
those.
telling
Do
you
know
that
who prepared
it
those?
has happened, and it is happening. I know somebody else had also just a year. I don't know what the reason was, if it was just because they're trying to get you guys, and things changed on the ordinance, or exactly why, but I've always had 7 years, 7 years. So anyway, what I would like to say is that I do own a family business, and it is known as a Beach Shack on Minuteman, and it is completely family operated, including the beach rental. So I have had an occupational license for beach rental since 1984. We did our rentals right off of the property. We had the chairs, right up under or close to our property or on the property, and we would carry them down and put the thing. So when we were offered and the ordinance came up that we would be able to, have it more organized and sit on the side, we said, okay, that's fine. Sounds good. And so we've been doing this since 2016. So I would like to think that my children and their children will be able to continue beach rental, and I'm not going to be worried that every 7 years I'm going to be, in fear that I'm going to lose the privilege, unless we have done something illegal or wrong against the ordinance and the rules. So I would like to continue with the 7 years also, I agree, and renewable, and it should be renewable unless there was something that would have caused us to lose it. let's see, the other reason I do need that is, you know, the 1 year right now, my kids are just starting out. They need to know that their investment of $30,000, you know, for chairs and umbrellas is going to be something that they're going to be able to continue and get their money back out of it. So I am agreeing also with the 7-year thing. So, but you understand that's what we're all saying, that we can't keep our storage areas maintenance, we can't improve our equipment or anything without a longer term. So anyway, yes, I would like to have a round table too and have a nice discussion with everybody.
Thank you, Connie. That's why we're considering tabling. We've got 3 at least that are considering that. So with that in mind, we're probably going to table it. Does anybody else, Angela Cobb, are you wanting to get up, or you want to wait till we have a discussion? Because we're gonna table this. So
Yeah, I just want to keep the sheds. We have to have a place for equipment.
we'll talk about that one on the table then. Okay. Marcus.
Just wanted to say thank you. Thanks for listening. Welcome to.
Thank you. All right, Mike. I think Penat.
Close enough. If you're tabling it, I'm happy.
Okay, all right. I just want to say too, before we do vote for this, is thank you guys all for coming and talking. I just want you to know that from you guys coming and voicing your opinion, you changed my vote. All right, so all you guys know that when you come here, you totally have the opportunity to change our votes, and it's very important for you to come up here and say that. So thank you very much.
Just for the city clerk or the city attorney, I'm hesitant to table this to a date certain. It is an ordinance which requires it to be tabled to date certain.
It does not.
It
does not, because it has not been advertised. This type of ordinance does not have to be advertised until the second reading.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
it can just be postponed.
we could just, I'm gonna just table it and request the city manager to set up a meeting with these folks. And if
That
it's
makes
the mayor's pleasure, I would like to think that us as commissioners
yes.
can be at that workshop, which requires Lori to be at the workshop.
What I would like to see is us all be there, the uplanders and the renters all be there together, so that we could all collectively come up with something that makes sense, because it doesn't make sense for us, in my opinion, to make decisions for the boots on the ground. You guys are the ones that deal with it every day. We just see it from 30,000 feet, so thank you.
Okay, and so did we have a second on tabling?
Second.
Okay.
All right, we got
One more seat, okay? Josh, you're professional project manager?
Program manager.
Okay. Is that close enough to be in, you want to facilitate this beach meeting and keep order and take notes and come up with solutions?
Sure. I would suggest that we have folks there that can answer questions, how this would be applied to
But
specific
somebody
situations.
needs to reel in the fish and actually start putting lines on walls and boards.
I like it.
I could do it, but, you know.
No, I'm happy to.
Okay.
All right, Joshua Jackson, thank you. All right, a motion and a
Sound good to you guys?
second. Motion and a
I
second.
don't want to hire a facilitator. We've done that before.
All in favor? Aye. Aye, okay. Okay, motion, we got vote to table. Passes. Where am I on this?
One more, okay.
New business.
Okay, discuss the special event regulations found in the city code, chapter 14, special events, and consider revisions. Representative, City Commission, Laird McLean, Recreation Director, recommendation, discuss and consider.
So, if I may, Mayor, so this item is just really for conversation among you as commission. There have been a lot of questions in reference to Chapter 14 and how the special event process works. And really all we're looking for tonight is so that each of you can hear each other. At the end of the Tonight, really looking to request that each of you reach out to your constituents or the businesses in the downtown that may have challenges with the current special events permitting process, and then let's bring this back at a future meeting. I actually don't mind putting it on the backside maybe of the meeting where we talk about the item we just discussed in reference to the vendors, the beach vendors, but it just needs to be, I don't know that you all have expressed your concerns. I've heard from each of you individually or some of you individually, but it's time really to express your thoughts so that our city attorney can also consider that when writing the code or making the code more strict.
So, I'm sorry. Go ahead. Let's don't mix the two.
That's fine. I can keep them
in
separate.
one meeting because
Just trying to reduce nights.
It's basically two, not completely separate groups of people because they're all in the community, but the beach vendor people, we don't want to rush them and cut them off because we got people there waiting to go to this next subject on this one.
That's fine.
So-
I can make it 2 different nights.
So you gave it to us, we got it in writing now. It's been put out on the agenda, and I guess we'll start hearing from people on what, I already have heard from some, but.
Are you talking about the special event discussion?
The special event discussion.
And if any of you have comments that you wanted to make or have us do any research on, again, hearing that from you to know if we need to do something, that could also.
So you're saying you don't want to discuss this?
No, we are going to discuss it, but this is the first time it's going.
Oh, we're not going to make a decision, we're just talking about it.
Right. This is the first time it's going out to the public, and.
I'd like to understand 2 things is, what do we think are the enforceable or the enforcement challenges? And then there was discussion initially when we had talked about the noise ordinance of that this didn't apply for certain businesses, like the special event permits. I'd like to see those 2. That would be my talking points. To me, I'm not a lawyer, but it seems pretty straightforward of what is classified, but.
I mean, a
I'd like to
special
understand.
event just has
Yeah.
different sound ordinance laws, right? But that was the, I forgot what it was, but.
Well, I mean, when we were talking in the context of the overall noise, that was one of the solutions I proposed is revising this special events ordinance. But I think there was discussion that it didn't particularly apply to one particular business. And then, like I said, I think there's some enforcement concerns from a legal perspective. Maybe that can help shape what we're discussing.
It is difficult to exactly know what, where the line is drawn between a special event and outside music. In that's a tough
I mean, I think
problem.
there's a possibility of a number of people, the amount of people that are there, or whether or
Well,
not they're
there-
charging, or.
What are some examples of special events that we do grant?
Oh,
as a city?
well-
Just so we can have context of what is it.
I mean, the
Art show?
typical ones are the,
I guess Friday
but
Fest?
the something
Special
on the
event?
beach, what is it, the Roar on the Beach?
Well,
or
yeah,
the-
Thunder on Cocoa Where's Beach?
Thunder on Cocoa Beach, yeah.
Thunder on the beach.
And the air show.
Yeah, but those are also spelled out, those are specific, please come up, Laird. Those are very specific ones already addressed in here, Main Street and the air show, and those have different regulations.
No, I didn't hear the question, I'm sorry.
What are the type of permits issued for special events, or what type of events are issued for special events?
Well, you have A classes, which are your big events, which are, it's stages, it's outdoor alcohol, it's a variety of different things, parking, it's a variety of, then you have your small events, which are just like small weddings, that kind of stuff. So those are the 2 types of events that we permit.
Okay. I mean, to me, the special events, to me, hit home. Obviously, a lot of people know I run the radio station. I've tried to do good community events. I've gotten pushback from the city. I wasn't happy with the way you guys handled the event process. But I think there's room to be improved. I just hope that in the future, it's more fairly it should be, one business shouldn't be discriminated against more than the other because of the type of music they play or because of whatever it is. You know, I think with a special event, we need to make a decision on how many we want to allow people to have, and there needs to be straightforward qualifications of why they would require a special event. Just because, for example, last year I threw a Halloween party, I needed to get a special event for something that a restaurant would normally do. It was ridiculous. Luckily, you know, it went through, but, you know, for 142, I think most of the time they probably didn't even need special events. We made them get them anyways.
That's how it started off, yes.
Yeah, so it's like,
yes.
I get it. I mean, the noise was ridiculous, but we need to be fair to the businesses, and we need to have a concise plan, or like, if you're going to have more than 500 people or whatever it is. But I mean, and that's not even quantitative. Like you don't even know before the event what it's going to be. So we definitely need work on this.
We've done some research. We have, I know I've reached out to all the Parks and Recreation to see how they handle stuff. I know the city clerk reached out, the police chief reached out to all his contacts. I'd say we got nothing back different than what we're doing right now. I mean, like you said, one of the things was the numbers. I know City of Orlando, their special events is categorized by number of attendees, and I think theirs is very low, like 100. Yeah. So I mean, it's all different things.
Yeah, it doesn't work here. I mean, that's a bar to get 100 people.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. They're not breaking the attendance as far as what they're allowed. They're not breaking it. So I mean, I think a lot of problems is with special events in other places is that they don't. The only thing they can do against them is if they break a code, like maybe don't have a liquor license, or if they have gone past their attendance. That's all. Maybe the parking is out of line. So that's the only way we can actually, keep them under control. Or noise. That's the other thing. Noise is a big thing too. That's it.
Thank you.
You also have in 14-6, you have where we spoke about Section B, where the Cocoa Beach Pier, no single location shall host host two more than 4 Class A and then 6 Class B special events. Again, I think Commissioner Hutcherson, we went back trying to figure out where all those numbers were earlier on when it came to some of the other issues. Then you have in C says in consideration of unique characteristics, Cocoa Beach shall be permitted to host up to 6 special events per year per classification. Again, we've got a lot of language in here. Mm-hmm. Again, just I think some of the questions that have come to me is how do we separate that out? How do we decide 4 is a magic number for a Class A? We've decided Main Street gets 1 a month. Again, we put them as an exception, so maybe they're a crown service. I don't know, whatever you wish to call them. But again, understanding the difference is important for us. Again, so that we can then make decisions and do something. Our hands are kind of tied if there's nothing.
Right. I think the main thing with what we had in the books before, we want to think about what was the intent of the law, right? So if the intent of the law was, to try to keep noise down or to try to keep too many people showing up at one place too often or whatever, let's try to work around that with our city is, I don't want to say the population isn't growing, but what we have going on is growing. We need to work with the times. I think we need to update a lot of our ordinances we need to start looking into and updating it. So this is one of them I think is a really good way to start with.
I was thinking of another way to look at limiting events. Maybe don't put a number on it. Maybe if you have so many events, you pay more for the permit, or they're required to volunteer, I don't know, beach cleanup to the city or something like that, some other way of thinking about just putting a number on the different kinds of events. Kind of think outside the box too. Charging more or some volunteer thing or something that we can do that they're like, okay, if you want this number of events, okay, but you're either gonna have to pay more to do it or you're gonna have to do this to do it, or I don't know if that's some other way to look. We could look into it too.
Makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Melissa, did you want to say something?
While she's coming up, if I may, just mention, again, in the current requirements, we can present a cost for the event. We have no way to enforce that that event is paid for, and we have no means in which we can close down that event. So
Definitely we need something in there that says that if your previous event wasn't paid for, you're not getting a new event permit.
Sure, but then how do we close that permit down? So how do we not allow them to have that event? So again, some of that
Once
language
it's
is
going
not-
on, if they, in defiance.
Well, as soon as, if they're not paid up within 2 weeks or 30 days, like a net 30 account, if they're not paid within then,
What if they have the event
they're
without a
delinquent,
permit?
they can't go further.
They have the event without the permit.
Other than
Shut
they
down.
would get fined, I would suppose.
You get shut down.
Yeah.
But the ordinance allows it, if you try to hold a permit, you get shut down if you don't have one. Melissa Byron, I was part of writing this special event ordinance, and it's not good. I admit it, it needs to be changed, it needs to be updated. But the purposes behind it were a couple. One is, you were a special event if you impacted any city services. If you needed city services to hold your event, or we had to have city services there because of your event, that was how we started out with what a special event was. Size was part of it. We put together, the police department added what they needed, so you have a whole section that says what we need for police. That was all written by the police department. You have a whole section for fire. They wrote their whole section. Because bottom line is, fire or police for public safety can say no to it. The process is good. The process is that anyone that wants to do an event in Cocoa Beach has to come to a special event meeting. In the special event meeting, you have fire representative, you have public works, you have police, you have marketing, you have finance, you have all department heads are there, and they listen to the presentation from the candidate that wants to put on a special event and quiz them on what they think. Where we come up with the numbers? The event planner tells us. They have to give you an event, how many they think are going to attend, because if it's not a ticketed event, how do you know? And then every one of those people that are in that committee, they have to sign off, approve or disapprove. And one of the requirements that, the police put in there is that if you're going to have bands, they have to research them. They do. They go and they look at the bands and they look at where they play. They look at what kind of crowds they brought. They look at what kind of police presence had to be there. And they dictate whether you can have it or not. The process is good. Yeah, you need to change some of it. I mean, we have $35 for a wedding. I mean, that's great. The other criteria is that if your business normally does this to the public, normally, then you can have the event, but you need a special event. But it's people who try to put on events that do not normally do it. And they impact city services a lot. Every one of these special events, the police officers are there, they are volunteered or they volunteer to work it. So it's overtime, and yes, the event pays for it. But it still is a matter of, you've got an officer who's working 40 hours and then he's got a special event. So yes, he or she is going to get paid, but still overworked, they're working. So those are the reasons you want to limit some of your special events, because of the impact you're going to have on your infrastructure and your people. So yeah, it needs to be rewritten, because there's a whole bunch of stuff in there. I mean, it tells you how many bathrooms you got to have, it tells you how, et cetera. And it has been simplified a little bit to, you need a parking plan. We've done things, the city has done things along the way that they found problems. For example, trash. Trash was a problem. So now you have to have a sanitation plan. Bathrooms were a problem. So now you have it written there, that how many bathrooms you have to have if you're going to have people, because they can't say there's no place to go. So in parking. Parking's always been an issue, so you have to have a plan for where your parking is. So that's kind of what the history behind it, and yeah, it needs to be rewritten, but a lot of it's good.
One of the biggest issues, people like the special events, okay? You have air shows, they make noise, they're once a year. You got Thunder on the Beach, they make noise, they're once a year. Okay, you have Friday Fest, it makes some noise, but we do direct it toward the beach, usually. So it makes noise, once a month. But if you have, whether it requires a special event permit or not, or if it does, let's say, require a special event permit, and it makes a lot of noise that goes above our noise limits but gets excused because it's a special event, those are the ones that people want to limit, so there aren't every weekend the noise, permeating the whole downtown. Now, I know we got a noise ordinance now, and I know we're trying to hire people to do the enforcement on that. But if you've analyzed a special event, a Class A special event, and you know that it's gonna have 6 hours of bands playing, full blast, then you probably, if you're gonna give them an excuse from the noise ordinance, or you're not gonna enforce the noise ordinance, then you need to limit the number that they can have so that the people in that area don't have to put up with it, but, a few times a year.
I think that's the difference between the classes, which a certain class gets a certain amount compared to another class compared to another class.
Right,
Am
but
I
there isn't
correct?
anything that says in the Class A, you can go make as much noise as you want, but, you get excused. But you can only have 3 or 4 a year or something because you're gonna make this noise and get the excuse. So I think a factor in this is how much noise is being produced for how long a period of time.
Yeah.
Like, we got Relay for Life out of the track at the football stadium. Okay, I get up early. They do it all night long. On a still night, noise carries over water. Talk about audible noise. I can hear every word they say. I don't care because it's once a year. And it's not obnoxious or anything, but you can hear every word they say when it's still at night and early morning and wind's not blowing, and just you can hear it because it's coming across the same speakers as the football games are. You can hear the football games too. That's okay.
Yeah, I think that, like I said, the intent of the law. So why is this coming up? And that's because we've got businesses that are wanting to do more special events than normal, right? So it might be.
It's not just meeting the definitions of a special event, it's the amount of noise that's produced on a regular basis. And whether that even requires a special event permit, as you said, maybe they don't, but then they gotta live by the noise ordinance.
And a lot of the emails are other things, so they're not even noise. They're, again, how do we hold somebody accountable? Police and fire have restrictions, but they don't necessarily have the power to stop unless there are certain things that are met. Police have to feel a need for a violation. They have to feel there's going to be possibly a fight. And fire has to feel there's a fire marshal. Anything else you want to add? I see you there, Chief.
Just real quick. Westmoreland's Deputy Police Chief, Mayor Commission, and congratulations, Commissioner Jackson. Just real quick, I'm going to agree with most of what my friend Melissa said, except for the fact that we are not subjective in who we pick. That's not a law enforcement job. We're here to enforce the laws and who the special event committee picks. That's not our call, okay? That's not what we do. We don't decide subjectively who gets to play in the city and who does not. I'm not saying it hasn't happened in the past, but I'm saying that it's not a very good practice for us because that's a very slippery slope in my view, and I feel like that's a job for the special event committee as a whole, not the police department in and of itself. As it relates to the special events, yeah, there's a lot of them. But we can handle whatever you guys decide. We're here to help, and we'll sit in for whatever workshops or whatever you guys want to ask us. Okay?
Okay. Yeah, my main concern is make sure that we're fair to the businesses, and that we're fair to the residents alike. So, yeah, go ahead.
I just want to make sure the special event is not a conduit to get away from other ordinances.
No, we don't need it as a backdoor, thing.
Janice Scott, Cocoa Beach. One thing I think should be thrown in the mix is who do we serve? Who are these events benefiting? Aggravating the residents with this noise situation downtown. Okay, so if you go through the surf contest, the big crowds that are traditionally drawn to Cocoa Beach, the surf contest, the air show, we're having like one big event a month. Christmas Eve, there's 10,000 or more surfing Santas. It's not a loud event. They're not playing loud music or anything. I don't know if there are any complaints, except for the traffic is a clog. If you need to go somewhere, it's really a problem. And I think that a lot of the noise situation are small bars that have, we have a plethora of bars, come on, from 4th Street North to 2nd Street South, a lot of bars. And a lot of that music that used to be indoors, now outdoors. That's one big problem. But I think overall, why you get elected is to serve the residents of Cocoa Beach. If you want to attract some business, fine, that's great. But to always say, oh, we want business. Well, what kind of business? Back in the day, there was a lot of conversation about this being a family-oriented community. And Daytona, which was Party City, Florida, spent millions trying to recreate themselves as a family-oriented destination. Cocoa Beach sort of tried to have that reputation, but it's not living up to it anymore. And having more than one major event, or Class A, however you want to call it, a month is too much, because it's impacting a lot of residents that were here or moved there before these people kind of started spreading out around town. So thank you.
So a thought on that, and I agree. Is there a way we can have the commission in the disposition for approving those events? Something to think about. With a special event, I don't know how many come through the city. Is it dozens? But we could do like some kind of electronic work.
We really don't have a ton of special events going on, honestly. We already have a mechanism with leisure services and the board, like I said, to do it.
Right.
We just need to trust our board, but we need to give them better direction, I think.
Well, I'm offering you have a conduit from the residents. If it's someone on the commission, the mayor, the entire commission.
Like I said, this really hits home to me because I've tried I've done events and I've been shut down on events and I've had to go the backdoor route and it was messed up.
But ultimately, special events should be supporting the stakeholders, the residents. That's who matters, right? I want to bring business, but we represent the people.
No, of course, but I don't just represent the people. I represent the business as well. So, I think the residents are number one, but I think we also need to understand that the business they're part of the city as well.
Well, and also, a lot of the business owners are residents too.
Exactly, yeah.
So you got to look at it both ways. Mm-hmm. And I agree with you. I don't think we should be individually, as a commission, deciding which events. We've got the process. We've got the committee. Yeah. That's what it's there for. We have to make better direction. Yeah.
Joshua, you got anything to say?
I think I think we've got to be careful. You said earlier that we want to make sure we're not creating new rules, new laws to address things in a sideways manner. If it is noise, we need to make sure that we're going after this specific problem. But I think it needs to be similar to what we talked about in terms of the workshop with the beach vendors. It needs to be all of our residents, those who are running businesses, those who are living. I think it's got to be that balanced approach. We got to be careful not to use a special event process that may not be capable of addressing noise. So I think we may need to think outside of the box a little bit.
Thank you. Thank you, guys. I guess that, you want to say something? Come on, man, you're holding us up.
Ricky Anderson, 1800 Minuteman Causeway. It just seems that a lot of this discussion has come up very recently, and it was because that Area 142 in particular started applying for special events permits, and maybe they shouldn't have even have to go through the special events process in the first place, because it seems to be the business model for them to have outdoor music all the time. So what makes one outdoor music venue or event qualify as a special event, whereas another one does not? So it seems like we're trying to modify the whole special events format based on like a variable or an aberration that's happened just recently. And maybe, I mean, 142 is just doing business as usual and needs to be looked at in that format without, they shouldn't have to apply for special event permits. And if they do, I don't know where exactly where I'm going with that, but it just seems that that's their business model as usual, and that should be treated within that context, and we shouldn't be revising a whole special events code based on that little aberration.
I don't think that's what we intend on doing. We intend on making it more clear. We're trying to clarify the definition or what we're going to be doing. So I think that's our main goal here. Not to revise everything, but to clarify it. All right. I think that concludes public comment and motion to adjourn.